Welcome everybody. Don Giannatti here from lighting-essentials.com, project52prosystem.com, and my own website, dongiannetti.com, where I talk to photographers about marketing themselves and building better portfolios, etc. This is Minimal Viable Brand number 3. We're going to be talking about direct mail. Direct mail is a big part of being a professional commercial photographer. It cannot be overlooked. And I know you're going to hear a lot of people, I know this, you're going to hear a lot of people saying things like, well, direct mail's dead and everybody's doing it electronically. No, it's not. You've got to stay in touch with clients consistently and constantly. And my mantra is 3 contacts a day, 3 a day. 5 a day is better. 7 a day is killer. But 3 a day is minimal. That's just the minimal. And that's an email or a direct mail piece or a phone call or a message, something that you touch a client 3 times a day. Same client? Not necessarily. Can be different clients, obviously. You want to keep everything flowing so well that you're constantly marketing. And if it takes a system like 3 per day, so be it. 5 per day, better. 7 per day, killer. If you did 3 contacts a day, just 3, send an email to this client, send a direct mail piece out to this client, send or make a phone call to a 3rd client, and you did that every day, 5 days a week. That's 15 a week. That's 60 a month. That's 120 contacts in 2 months. It's 180 contacts in 3 months. That's a lot of contacts. This is a numbers game, folks. You got to kiss a lot of frogs. You got to send a lot of direct mail. You got to make a lot of phone calls to let people know who you are. They don't just sort of through the ether go, oh, there's this photographer living in Akron, and yeah, I think I'll look him up. That's not what they do. You got to stay top of mind. Sometimes this business is it's a little bit crazy. It's not that sort of instant return on investment you have with selling a product. You contact somebody, you got a can of peas, they buy the can of peas or they don't. In our business, we contact somebody who may not be in the market right at that time to hire you. We'll get into why that shouldn't bother you in another video. But for now, sometimes you show your book to somebody, they're just not hiring a photographer. They don't hire photographers every day to do everything in the world. They have clients. When I was a creative director for my ad agency, we had many really good gigs, but we didn't have them every day. They weren't like part of the fabric of our day. They were something kind of special. And when we had a chance to hire a photographer, it was generally somebody top of mind, somebody who's been contacting us. Sometimes, and I was a photographer full time before I started the ad agency, and I found myself, what do you do? Sometimes the photography call is the last guy whose promo is sitting on your desk. Sometimes it's just luck. The promo comes in, I'm thinking we need to hire a photographer for this. Let's get a bid. I sit down, there's that promo that came in yesterday and sitting on my desk, and I'm going to call him or her. And, sometimes you just got to play it. And sometimes we would get promos from photographers and I go, wow, I don't have a job for this photographer, but I love this work. We'll file it over here. And a job would come in. We'd think this is the right job for this photographer. Let's give them a call. So they may have seen me and shown their book a couple of months before, maybe a year before, but they kept on with that direct mail, sending me appropriate imagery for that direct mail. And then when the time came for a job, I'd remember them. That's top of mind thinking. That's exactly what we're trying to do here with direct mail. So I wanted to share a few things with you. The page, the direct mail page here on my Minimal Viable Brand is full of information, but there's a couple of things we want to talk about. So let me share the page with you real quick. we'll scroll down and I'll show you a few things here. Direct mail materials. We're going to be talking about two kinds of direct mail materials. We're talking about the short run magazines and some sort of postcard thing. Yes, there are much bigger and more elaborate, what's the word I'm looking for? More elaborate super promotions that can be done. But this is minimal viable brand, not maximum you got all the money in the world viable brand, okay? This is minimal. And minimal is postcards, minimal is short run magazine. Some of these short run magazines, places like overnightprints.com and places like that are very affordable. You can do an 8-page magazine saddle stitch for $1 a piece practically. So 50 or 100 promotions isn't that much money. I want to start at the beginning we talk about a little bit about back in the days. Okay. I want everybody to understand when I talk a little bit about back in the day, I don't long for those days. The good old days, that's today. There was no good old days in photography 20 years ago. Anybody tells you that it was, just full of shit. This is the good old days right now. Tomorrow's a good old day. Yesterday, it's gone. It's done. But what we would do back then is we would spend a ton of money on marketing materials. If you did a postcard campaign, you didn't do 200 postcards. You did 2,000 or 3,000 postcards sent out to this giant list. If they were an ad agency and they were in the West, they got a postcard. You know what it cost to print 3,000 photographs back then? We had color separations that had to be dealt with. We had proofs that had to be dealt with. All of that was color seps and proofs were more money than you'll spend on a set of postcards today. Just the proofs. And then we'd do postage with 3,000 envelopes and 3,000 stamps. And it's just on and on. Today, we don't have to do that. For one thing, we don't market to 2,000 people. It's insane. It's just insane. If you're in a really big town, you need about 150 to 250 people that you're just going after. If you're in a smaller town, you may need more. You might need 300 names because you're going to be reaching out into the different areas of the region. So your town is here and you're spreading out to get it. But if you're trying to manage a list of 1,000, that's really crazy. Minimal viable brand, minimal 250 names, 200 names that can hire you for a gig. Okay? So today we're doing much smaller runs, more targeted. I've got a couple quotes over here from photographers, from a photo editor. We'll talk about the website and how important a photo editor's website is to marketing in just a moment, but fantastic website. And these are photographers that are using direct mail. Maybe it's confirmation bias. I'm a big believer in direct mail. I've always done well with direct mail. I've always recommended it. And so maybe I seek out people who are successful at it, but that's okay. Being successful at direct mail means that you can use it as a real tool in your business. Just understanding how it's done is important. So let's say you're not a designer, because probably you're not a designer. You might need a little bit of design help. Nothing wrong with that. Creative Market, which is creativemarket.com. We talked about that with business cards and logos earlier in one. Creative Market has these great templates. So here's one called Naturals. It's a lookbook. It works in InDesign. And you don't have to use all these pages. You just use the pages you like. You want to, do something here. We got a picture that goes across the page, a double truck. We've got this layout. All of this is done. The typography is professional. It looks good. It's done very well, and it'll work for you. And it's $29. Your we're doing this minimal viable brand to try to save you money, save your assets, because you're going to need it for other things like food, electric bills, stuff like that. And finding these little places like here, and of course over here at um, design or graphicriver.net, they've got the photography portfolio. It's $19. Here's what the pages look like down here. Choose the page that works for you. You can leave off the text. You can just put this page over here and just put photographs, whatever you want to do. Little short run, 8-page, 10-page, 8-page, 12-page, 16-page, whatever you go to. Little short run magazines are pretty cost effective. Postcards are the most cost effective. And you can just do a postcard at any of these places pretty inexpensively. My suggestion is put 3 photographs on the postcard, or 2 photographs on the postcard, or 1 photograph on the postcard. 4 is too many, 5 is ridiculous, 7 is insane. 1, 2, 3. If it's something that you're doubling up as a leave behind, maybe it makes sense to put 3 on it. Because we're going to talk about leave behinds in MVB4. Leave behinds are sometimes just your direct mail piece that you hand deliver, okay? So you don't necessarily have to have a different piece. So if you're using your direct mail pieces as a leave behind, maybe 3 pictures, maybe 2 pictures. 1 picture is fantastic. The thing about postcards is you got to be religious about sending them out. We're going to go through in the second video down here on the page below. We're going to go through some of the things that to do and not to do with direct mail, and it really makes an important thing, more important part of your direct mail campaign. Got some information here on postcards and magazine style portfolios. If you're not familiar with InDesign, you might want to hire somebody from the local college or someone that can put it together for you. Keep it as simple as possible. You're not designing a magazine, it's a promo piece. Keep it simple, keep it cool, keep it the right photographs. What are the right photographs? Oh, we could talk for a year on that. The right photographs are the ones you love and you want to do. If you sit and think, oh, what do I put on here for them to hire me? You will always be wrong. Always be wrong. There's no way you can second guess what the clients want, what they need. You just can't. And then you start to go censoring yourself into all kinds of, oh, I can't do this and I can't do that. Actually, you can. You just have to be smart about it. And you have to understand and know where you fit. If you haven't done a really hard, long portfolio examination, I would recommend you go over to a site I call findphotoclientsnow.com, findphotoclientsnow.com, and take the little free videos there. It's about how to design and build a portfolio that works for you. Okay, so we've got some postcard examples over here. I've linked to a photo editor, and here we got some short run magazine and postcard printers here for you. Lots and lots of different pricing here, from as little as 40 cents, 30 cents a card or something like that, or even less, all the way up to $1 a card and more. So it just depends on what you want to do. All of these are recommended. If you have somebody that you would like to recommend and it's done a really great job for you, send the name over. I'm happy to list them in here. If we've got examples that work, that's fantastic. Now, if you want to know what other photographers are doing, Rob Haggard over at a photo editor, photoeditor.com, has put together this thing called the Daily Promotion. And what it is Let me scroll way up here. What it is a category right here. You hit your categories, you can go to daily promo here, and that tells you how many daily promos he's listed. He does way more than that on the Instagram, which we'll look at in a second. But in this case, he takes a promo that he's gotten and goes through it, shows all the pages, talks a little bit to the photographer about what they were doing, what they expected to get from it, how many they printed, who they sent it to, etc. And you've got some great fun examples, things you can use when planning your promotion, at least seeing what other people have done. If you go over to his Instagram, which is a photo editor at Instagram, you can follow along with some of these great, wonderful things that he gets and see what other people are doing. It's always nice to see. No, you're not copying. I mean, I don't want you to copy. I want you to know what other people are doing here. So here's I don't know, is this a magazine or postcards? Oh, it's a little magazine thing. Little magazine piece. Really nice. Sorry. I popped over to another one. Sorry. Let me get back to the one I was looking at. This is a nice piece too, as well. And there it is. And so there's a lot of different ways. Maybe it's a group of postcards or a magazine. We're going to talk about A lists and B lists. And we're going to talk about what I call a style maker promotion and a postcard promotion or a maintenance promotion in the next video. So be watching for that. It's at the bottom of the page here if you're on the MVB3 page. If you're on YouTube, there's a link down below. If you like what I'm doing here, please subscribe. There's no cost for this. There's no, I'm just doing this to help photographers understand the minimal stuff that they need to get out the door. You can't get out the door if you don't have the tools to work with in marketing. So this is all free. It's being developed at Lighting Essentials. It will always be free. I'm not trying to sell you anything except my good looks. And of course, they need no introduction. Folks, I'll see you next time on Minimal Viable Brand for Photographers. Have a great day. Thanks for being here.